Welcome to another episode of RIA Collective. I'm your host, as always, Charlie Van Derven. This is a show helping young advisors who, maybe you're in that quota-driven environment working for a big bank, and this isn't exactly what you thought the industry was going to be. Came with pure intentions of helping people, and recognize all of a sudden you're serving somebody other than your client. So we're interviewing people who have been through that transition, in some cases bumpier than others. And I'll tell you what, I came across the LinkedIn profile for today's guest, Shawn Zell. Shawn is with Fruition Financial in St. Louis, Missouri. I was just telling him the hottest city I've ever been to, and the heights of August when the air doesn't move in the center of the country. St. Louis can get humid, Shawn. Shawn's got a really interesting story that is close to me because he worked with one of my favorite sports teams for a little while, and what brought him to the industry. And then we're going to capture in Shawn's 4.5 or 5 years in the industry. He's learned a lot, so we're gonna dip into that. Shawn, number one, thank you, man. I appreciate you being a guest today.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, man, I saw a couple things I saw on your LinkedIn profile when I first reached out to you. Your headline is Fiercely Independent Financial Planning. That drew me right away because it fits with our mission here with RIA Collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the first person that has reached out because of that tagline. So
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Now, what also drew me is before joining this industry, man, you got to work with some cool sports teams. One of them, the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm a Wisconsin guy, so diehard Packer fan, fair weather Bucks, Brewers, Badgers fan. But so let's talk about that career a little bit, and then we'll talk about transitioning into financial services.
yeah, I've talked a lot about my career. I always tell people that I love being in the financial planning industry now because it doesn't dominate all the conversations. Typically with sports, I find myself the entire dinner talking to someone about, what favorite food is or, so I worked in professional sports for almost 10 years. I came from the hospitality, culinary, nutrition background through undergrad. I went out to Denver, went to school, got to ski, got to learn a lot of the sciences of food and nutrition. Did a master's degree in nutrition. And then before I finished the master's degree, I was actually hired by the previous St. Louis Rams to build out the nutrition program.
Cool.
I was 21 at the time. And at the time, there were 3 full-time dietitians within the NFL.
Wow.
When they started looking at what they were putting into these players' bodies, turns out it has a pretty big impact. The disciplines that are in the sports industries, you have your strength training, you have your physical therapist, all those different disciplines. Nutrition was just not there yet. After 5 years seasons with the Rams, I decided to not go out to LA. I was recruited to Milwaukee, where I got the career dream of building out a kitchen and a training facility. So that was the allure of figuring out, one, where Milwaukee was on the map, and then 2, sounds pretty fun. So let's head up there and do that. So I spent 5 years with the Bucks, but I hit a point in my career where I just wasn't getting my why or my juice. Like I just wasn't going to work every day being fulfilled.
Yeah. And your entry into this industry actually coincides with COVID, right?
Yes, it does. So 2020 happened, COVID happened, everybody had their life events and everything else. We actually continued to keep working. We had a little kid in February. My benchmark from when COVID hit was when Bear and the Utah Jazz game shut down. That's when our world changed. Talks of the bubble, we were deemed necessary. So we worked all through the pandemic. However, I did some evaluation and thinking like, okay, I can do this for the next 30 to 40 years, but I was working 80 to 90 hours a week.
Wow.
Having a family, it's cool to be in a different city and get free Nike shoes and Gatorade. But if you're not there and present for your kids, then what is it all for? I knew as a core value and trait of mine is that I liked helping people. I think everybody can teach someone something. And if I can get 23 to 24-year-old millionaires to buy into what I'm trying to sell them from a health standpoint, why not try to have a bigger impact on people's lives? So I was able to help those athletes at the time. Do they remember me? Maybe not. I'm much more fulfilled sitting in the place that I'm at today, being able to help people get to that financial freedom. The relationship is just that much more sticky. It's that much more personal. And I was always good with numbers. I was the guy in the department that had the greatest budget. So it was like the preemptive early signs that I probably was in the wrong industry.
There you go. So, changes happen with the job with the Bucks. What draws you to financial services? Obviously, the helping people and good with numbers, but you made a hard transition that is completely unusual to me coming out of professional sports and going into financial services.
Yeah.
Maybe not completely unusual. I certainly know some former professional athletes that have made the transition. But yeah, how about for you? What was that story like?
So I was extremely blessed to be given an opportunity. The business that I took over as a family business, it's been in practice for 25 years. I always knew what my mom did. I knew the clientele and the base pretty well because, as advisors know, it has a lot of friends and family, and those tentacles spread outward. I really just started looking at what the perfect job would be in my previous industry. And I spent 10 to 12 months reflecting on that, thinking about it. In the meantime, looking at what's the next step. What can I do to continue to be a servant or a service mentality in helping people? My mom, when I started having the conversations, I started taking some of the security exams, and I've always loved numbers. I ran out of math classes to take in high school just because I took all the AP classes. And then the joke was I never took math after high school because I took them all in high school. So yeah, the numbers passion was there. And then the passion to serve and help was there. So it worked very well together. I joined the firm 5 years ago.
Okay.
I did the paraplanner exam, which is kind of like an entrance exam to see kind of like what it is. Did that one, did the insurance exam because we do insurance as well, not as a core, but as a satellite of what we service. Then I did the SIE, then I did the 7, then I did the 66. And I figured the Forrest Gump moment, I've come this far, I might as well just do the 24. So we got special approval from our previous broker dealer for me to take the 24 because you have to have certain years of experience to do it. I was averaging about a security exam every 2 to 1.5 months. So
wow.
Remember, I said that I was used to working 80 to 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
When everybody in the office left at 4 o'clock every day, I was like, where's everybody going and what's happening? So in the midst of that, the firm, as I said, was around for 25 years. So when I got here, I couldn't necessarily have an impact on the actual clients in themselves in terms of sitting in with the meetings. So we started looking at the technology stack, which is the lingo in the industry of what's your tech stack, blah, 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 blah. And it started off as how do we communicate better from like Microsoft Teams? And it melded into basically redoing all of our technology.
Wow.
So we had a old archaic system called PortfolioCenter that was about to sunset.
Okay.
Some people may be familiar with that. Some people won't. I sat there the first week and I watched them download all the data transactions into the system and then upload them onto our thing. It took 2 hours for this guy in our office. And I thought to myself, there's just no way I'm ever going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm very much an efficiency process kind of guy coming from the industry that I was in. So we redid our portfolio management. We redid our risk assessment. We redid our retirement planning. So we redid all of our technology while I was taking on my exams. And I really got to know the firm. We jokingly tell all the clients, I've validated every single data point that's happened in the last 25 years 4 to 5 times. So
you're perfect for this industry.
Yeah, it allowed me and our team. We have a member of my team who's been with the team now for 11 years now. Him and I went through all the data points. So I got to know the practice very well from a number.
Awesome. Very cool.
Which gave me the credibility with clients because I could recall back in 2007, I remember when you did this, or this is what happened.
That's great.
I got to see the roadmap of what's happened.
Very cool.
Yeah. What's next one? Then go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm curious, right? So you're not our typical interview, Shawn, right? Like our typical interview is somebody who maybe came through one of the big insurance companies or came through a big bank or something like that and recognized the inherent issues in those environments, the biased issues in those environments, which lead to obviously trust issues in the industry and such. If you're selling proprietary products, not the best thing for your client, that tends to create issues after a while for a lot of people. So that's typically our interview is how'd they find that path to independence? But you jump right into that path of independence.
Yeah, I just didn't know anything other than it because that's what it was. And
yeah,
I got a really good look at what the whole side of the industry, which I think is where you're leading me to.
That's exactly where I'm going, man. Yeah. And you're
brief. A small firm, and we'll leave out all the names and details of everyone. We were a small independent hybrid broker dealer based out of California. They were acquired by one of the largest firms in the United States. We got an email on a Wednesday afternoon that said mandatory phone interview, and I could see the credentials and the acronyms behind it. And I go, oh, looks like they've sold. So the firm that they sold to was not a good fit for us. They have 30 or 40,000 advisors around the country. And so I said, okay, let's just evaluate and see if this is a good fit or not. I probably interviewed over 50 different RIAs because we needed a small broker dealer relationship because 15 years ago, they sold these very unique long-term care hybrid policies that we still service our clients. So we have 10 annuities that can never be replaced because they were like golden. So we had to have that affiliation.
Yeah.
So in the midst of all this, I'm 35, 36 at this time. I have a lot of firms saying, okay, we're going to give you all of this money to move your assets to our platform.
Yep.
Came out from outside this industry. I'm like, you know what? Nickels and dimes, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would they give me money for what? You also get handcuffed, and now you've got to be there for 5, 10, 7, whatever the time period is. So I don't really like that because I don't know if I like you or not. We had just updated all of our technology, so that kind of narrowed our window down as to who wanted to change us. We were looking for a partner that wanted to help assist us, but not change us and mold us into something that we weren't. Because we've been doing this for 25 years and we were stuck in our ways and we weren't going to just change because the service side of it was so important to us. I had other firms that wanted to move all of our assets from Schwab. We custody at Schwab. We believe that's one of the most friendly platforms for investors from a cost standpoint. Move all your assets to this platform. Or I don't know, it's just a lot of the different stuff that we heard. And I walked away from it thinking, like, how many people don't know about this? Yeah. And we used a headhunter to help us, not a headhunter, but like a placement person to help find these firms. And we found a small firm out on the East Coast, very much like the West Coast firm. Their whole sole selling point was, if you want to become your own RIA, which I looked at, a lot of people have done it. There's a cost to it and there's a liability standpoint. If you want to become your RIA and you want to grow your book by 5 times in the next 15 years, we will help you do that. And to me, if someone's going to sell you on the fact that we will help you become your own and leave us, they got to be pretty good. Value proposition was, we just want to, they don't even use our reporting systems.
Yeah. Wow.
We're willing to learn all of our technology and all of our reporting systems for us to come in and just be, and them to support us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We aren't bound by what we can invest in. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot in the industry in the last 5 years. We've had partner changes, we've had name changes, we've had all of the different things that could have happened. We moved locations. But the thing that comes down to it that I think most people need to know is there is truly independent advice is going to become harder and harder and harder to come by. And I think I will spend the next 20 to 30 years fighting those outside forces to try to adulterate that advice.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just, I've done this for 5 years and I've realized that. So I can't imagine the people that have been doing it for 15 to 20 years.
Yep.
Either know and they're okay with it, or I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, you're unique, Shawn. You are, right? The love of math doesn't surprise me at all. You love the data, you love the granular of it. Not everybody's created that way. So your granular approach to this industry is refreshing, because there's a lot of people that come in and see this strictly as a sales job and let the team service it, or you keep a relationship with top clients. But essentially, it's a lot of people come and see it as a sales job versus a service job. And so you're unique in that respect.
Oh, I appreciate it. I think I've learned from how they've done it. And so they've done this for that long. And I don't think we realize the uniqueness of it. Our biggest problem is that we don't know how to scale because we want to do everything for everybody.
Yeah. And
we can't look at someone that's a smaller portfolio, and smaller is all perspective, right?
Yeah.
But can you do tax planning for a $15 million client, do tax planning for a $800,000 client? Well, I can't just see it and not do it.
Yeah.
How do you do it in a way that is economical to your time, but then you just care enough that you can't not do it?
Yeah. And that's cool. That's a cool quality. You brought up in our initial conversation, you brought up true client alignment. What does that mean to you in this big financial services industry that's got some bias and it's got some pain, it's got some great things? What is true client alignment?
I think you mean in terms of a client and what their relationship is with the advisor?
Yeah, we were having a conversation about trust issues with the industry when we first spoke.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It was echoed in my head. What is financial advisors were like the fourth least?
Yeah. Yeah. Fourth least trusted. Number one is elected officials. It's not good company. Elected officials, car salespeople, and advertisers.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're going to pay for advice, right? And I think One of the people that I've come across in my few short time period told me this. You're going to pay for the advice. Most people don't understand how they're paying for it. And we set our fees in front of the clients every single time. I'm not scared to set those fees in front of you because I know the value that I bring. But we don't have costs hidden in ETFs or mutual funds or trading costs, or people are angered by nickel and diming. Nickels and dimes build $6 billion buildings. Just walk into New York and you see all of those big institutions. You look at a mutual fund that's got a basis points. That's what built that skyscraper. They've got a lot of different revenue streams, but you need to know how you're paying for your advice. And I use the line a lot with prospects. Your financial freedom is the most expensive thing that you will ever buy. Most people think it's your home, but people squabble over their home costs and what they're paying their realtors and all those other things. Why would you want to take the cheapest route possible for the biggest, most important thing you're purchasing?
I love that. Very cool.
It's just being honest. I think, you have to be in alignment with who you're working with, and some relationships work and some don't. And
that's great.
Okay, that's why there's 5 different firms in this building and probably 100 on this highway, because it's a highly commoditized business. It needs to be more relational than transactional.
It absolutely does. I think that's what advisors have left, right? There's a lot of platforms we can tap into. It's that advisor relationship that is so important. You had a crash course over 5 years. You got an interesting background coming into the industry. Let's provide a little bit of maybe insight or a little advice. Shawn, is there anything that you look back on over these 5 years and choosing your new home and all this other stuff that you went through, that you look back and you say, gosh, I wish I'd have done this a little differently? And then the follow-up to that is, what's the flip side of that coin? Something maybe you did not even knowing it at the time that was so important for your future.
Man, differently, it's hard to say. I think I hit the ground running really fast, and I think I have a big energy, which I think I probably could have. I don't know. I knew that the responsibility of the firm in long term, that was unique, is that I had this very special opportunity to come in and take over a book.
Yeah.
Most people have to either build a book. I had the resources to build something and revitalize something. I wasn't trying to just put food on the table. I had an established team. So from a different standpoint, that's hard. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I think that you have to have the motor to keep going. And as things change and as things develop, you just have to keep adapting to it. Your broker dealer gets sold, or a partner wants to sell out and move to a different firm, or whatever it is.
Sure.
Honestly, I think it's just slowing down when you're with the clients. You can be fast behind the scenes, but the majority of the clients that we work with, they don't need the speed and detail. They just need someone to make them feel comfortable and heard. And I think that would be my advice in terms of what I would do differently, is just shut up and slow down.
That is great advice.
What I did well, I think as a business owner, because I'm now in charge and have the responsibilities, I think coming from my background in hospitality and kitchens and sports, I want to know how everything works. I think you need to know how everything works, but I don't think you necessarily need to be able to, or that you have to execute everything. I had a mentor one time, and I can't remember what the acronym is, but it comes into the play of what you're responsible for, what you're informed on, what you're consulted on. I need to be informed on everything that's happening in the firm. I need to understand how to open DocuSign. I need to know how to use the printer, but I shouldn't be spending my time doing those things because it doesn't help the overall business.
Sure.
But people are people, and people leave, or we haven't had anyone leave, knock on wood. We haven't. People get sick. You can't. The weakest link in a firm is the reliance on one individual person.
As a business owner myself, who has run various size teams over the years, you are so right in that.
And I think just always looking at how you're doing things, and to some degree making sure, I think I probably drive my team a little crazy, but I'm always looking at the process. How do we refine the process? How do we make it more efficient? How do we make it better from a client standpoint? We're working on our tax planning process. So How do we streamline that so that it's more accurate, more efficient, more credible in terms of how you're telling that craft story. Everything that you're doing is a craft story. You just have to be able to tell it.
Love it. So, Shawn, the majority of our listeners are maybe younger advisors that are in that environment that is not necessarily serving their personal needs, thinking about change. If they've got questions or your story resonated with them in any way, are you okay being a resource for them? And if you say no, I'll cut that piece of this out.
Yes, I will. I think I just put it with a grain of salt. Like I'm still new to the
Yeah.
industry. And I can sit here and talk about all the things that I've gone through, but at the end of the day, I'm 5 years in,
Yep.
and I recognize the fact that I don't I can give the advice from just my experience, but it's everybody's had their own different experiences, and I'm by no means an expert in this. I haven't messed it up yet.
Fresh perspective is a good thing too. Awesome. So in that case, what's the easiest way for someone to get a hold of you?
I would say just send me a message on LinkedIn.
Okay.
It's Shawn Zell. The name of the company is always Fruition Financial. I'm pretty sure it's a public profile.
Yeah.
That would be the best way to reach out. Just don't sell me anything on LinkedIn, because I think
Yeah, dude.
that.
Oh my gosh, we get bashed over the head with that stuff.
Like LinkedIn is at least saying sponsored, or like they're flagged now in terms of like, all right, what is this trying to automated marketing or something like that. So
yeah,
I'm happy to help answer those questions. I think there are great programs. We're in St. Louis, right? We're the home of a major institutional headquarters here.
two.
Yeah, a couple. They have great training programs. You got to learn somewhere, and it's that age-old call everybody in your contact list to try and sell something.
Yeah.
I never want to be that person at my kids' soccer games or at baseball events or school events. It's, oh man,
Here
that
comes
guy
Shawn.
Sean's coming over here to try to hustle business, because the reality is people don't want to be sold when they're in those situations. And I think it's like fruit, right? If you're using the food analogy, like everybody ripens at their own time, and
That's it. We preach that.
there's life events that traject people towards planning, but you can't force planning on somebody, because
Agreed.
it's probably not going to be a long-term relationship, and you don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be that guy. I got two quick comments on that. Yeah, I agree 100%. So it is, with the tools today, it's very easy to nurture hundreds or thousands of people. But if you're trying to sell through that nurturing process, you're going to alienate most of them. So just provide good information and be present, and give them a way to respond to you when the timing is right for them. Now, anecdotally, I will tell you, when I was younger and I was a little more athletic in my life, I got bad knees. And a buddy of mine, and this is 20 years ago, a buddy of mine was selling a juice called Monavi. And it was an MLM, Shawn. And I drank it, and it was great. It would be great because I didn't have a lot of fruit and veg. So it would be great on my body. And it was so great. It had glucosamine in it, helped the knees. I got the sticker for the back of my car. And within a week, I was the juice guy. And then I took the sticker off the back of my car. So to your point, like, I don't want to roll up and be that guy, right? In any environment, make yourself available. And when someone has a need, if they trust you and you've done a good job nurturing that relationship, they're going to call you.
I think that also speaks to some of the younger advisors. Your business model, whatever it is not for everyone. And I just got off a phone call with someone who asked if they wanted to attach a link on the bottom of my LinkedIn profile or an email for prospects. And us specifically, that's not who we are. I don't want to just work with someone who like clicks on a link. Like, they're much deeper relationships. They're coming from referrals. Typically, the clients that we're working with aren't going to put all of their eggs into a basket, the large amount of eggs into a basket from a link that they found.
Yeah.
Marketing is interesting in this industry. Marketing in itself is very impersonal by nature. So is it worth doing? Is it worth investing in the relationships? I would just say, don't try to work with everybody, because there are also people out there that are just not fun to work with. And if they don't see your value and you're constantly trying to rationalize that, your value could be served better somewhere else.
Yeah. Life's too short to work with jerks. We say that a lot. You got to like people first. And then it's always good if they're social.
Yeah.
That's where your referrals come from.
You should walk out you should look forward to meetings with these people. They're coming to you it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
I think hopefully that continues to stay ingrained in a lot of people that are in this industry, but people are asking you to guard their well-being for the rest of their life.
Yep.
It's a big responsibility.
It sure is. It sure is. Got to build trust. Absolutely. Yeah. So I agree with you. It's be informational, provide guidance, even when someone's not your client. And sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes 5 years. You meet somebody and they finally have a need and you've been present.
Biggest and best clients don't onboard in a week. They
Heavens no.
usually take a year to 2 years.
Yeah.
So
And if they do, fear that because they're going to onboard with the next guy in a week too.
yeah, that's a great point. The
Yeah.
longer they take, that's a great point.
Yeah. Shawn, you're doing so many things. Your focus on client first is awesome. I want to thank you again for being a part of RIA Collective and letting us capture your story a little bit. Check out Shawn Zell on LinkedIn, and Fruition Financial is the website. Thank
Thanks,
you, man.
Charlie, for having me. I appreciate it. And like I said, happy to be a resource and keep spreading the good word.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure, Shawn. Thanks for being here, dude.